Adam!
Bo?
Travis?
Yes.
Every time you do that, yes, I get thrown off. Adam, Travis and I were talking this week. I keep getting these quizzes online. I know you don't spend a lot of time on social media, but are you familiar with the quizzes that pop up on Facebook? Have you seen them?
I've seen them. I have avoided doing anything about them, but I've certainly seen them.
So, one of the ones that I saw was, tell us about your worst breakup.
I think it was Joseph Gordon-Levitt, maybe.
My name is Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
He sent me, everyone that I know, a question saying, he must have promoted it, saying, what was your worst breakup story? Something like that. And I noticed a lot of people I respect and I think they're pretty smart, were giving earnest answers about their worst breakup story. And I thought, this is just a celebrity who probably rented out his account to some commercial endeavor that wants to know the answer to this question. I could be wrong, but that's what it seemed like. And so I responded, I'm still not giving you my password. I got a gazillion likes on it because I think people are aware of the fact that these kind of quizzes, maybe not that one, but quizzes that ask you like 60 things. And oddly enough, about 25% of them were travel related. And they were about specific places where people may have traveled. And it was super clear that it was some sort of travel agent or airline or something like that, trying to figure out how to micro-target ads. I don't get why people are doing this, but I think that there's a more sinister side to it.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I saw recently was I had to update the password on an app that's connected to my healthcare plan. And to confirm that it was me, it gave me old addresses. So it'd give you, 3 addresses. I've lived at one. It just said, pick the one that you've lived at before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nice. It's a clever way to do a security question. But one thing I've seen on Facebook many, many times is something saying, what would your movie star name be? And it always, one of the things it always says is the street that you grew up on, or a street that you used to live on, and your pet's first name, or your first pet's name, rather. And those are both really good answers to security questions. Those are commonly used, saying, have you lived at this street, and what was your first pet's name? And so you see, thousands of people putting something up there like, Fido Birch or whatever.
Mine was Putty Cobb.
Yeah.
Nice. That was a really good stage name.
And mine was Muffin Sherman.
See, now we've given away information right now, but Adam, you know why it's not an issue, because you never give the real information.
Because I can't remember the real information.
No, that's not why. Because you lie like a superhero.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman.
I try to. Again, I just keep thinking, what would Clark Kent do right now?
Shows how stupid a crook can be. Imagine him thinking you could be Superman.
Well, now, just a minute. Isn't that funny? Oh, don't worry, Mr. Kent. We think you're all right, just like you are.
While these may be interesting things to answer, or it's an opportunity to express yourself in a creative way, you may well be providing information to a third party who doesn't have your best interests in mind, and may actually just be lurking there reading these feeds, and may have nothing to do with the original prompt, but they're in there. If I can see your answer, so can other people.
Well, and the important thing is to remember that in a situation like this, instant gratification may not be the way to go.
Right. May not. Maybe no gratification.
Welcome to What the Hack, a show about hackers, scammers, and the people that they go after. I'm Adam Levin, Cyber Ringmaster.
I'm Bo, Cybermensch.
I'm Travis, Cyber Clown.
And today we're talking with Caitlin Brodnick, author of the book Dangerous Boobies, about her experience having an elective preventive double mastectomy. She's also the host of the podcast ScamWow. So today we're going to talk about how someone scammed her.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey there.
Hello.
I'm happy to be here.
Full disclosure, We've had an opportunity to spend some time with Caitlin on her show. We had a blast. We also lowered her property values digitally significantly, and but we had a lot of fun on her show because Caitlin and her cohort, they're just fun. I mean, you talk about scams and you almost don't even feel bad anymore. It was like, oh well, I was scammed.
Are we doing a service or are we really harming people's lives?
This is way too much fun. Way too much fun. But anyway, so to really get a feel for this, so Caitlin is the host of her own scam-based podcast. It's called ScamWow, but she was scammed herself.
I was. Thanks for having me on, guys, and letting me talk about it.
No, we're delighted to have you. So why don't you, well, first of all, where are you coming to us from right now?
Oh, a pile of laundry behind me, my son's pile of laundry. I'm coming to you from New York, from Queens, New York. And managed to do some laundry before. So you're seeing my messy house. And all the secrets are out today.
Well, Bo
I see that there's a Puma logo there. And I'm getting a lot of private information here. So now I know that I can, probably sell you some Puma. And I don't know what else. I don't have
towels. I feel like we could sell you towels. I see
some towels drying over our door. We have some IKEA lights from last Christmas that we haven't put away. We decided to really just embrace Christmas all year round, even though we're also Jewish. And a custom painting by my aunt. So you could also impersonate her and say, can you lend me some money for art supplies? And then you could scam me that way.
Oh, well, okay. We'll think about that. Now, when I hear you talk about Queens, I think of that wonderful line from Coming to America where Eddie Murphy goes,
"Take us to Queens at once."
Yeah.
And Bo spent a lot of time in Brooklyn. I've spent a lot of time in Manhattan. And so we feel a kinship here. But we're delighted that you could join us. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your scam?
Okay, so this one, I will say most scams that come by me, I don't really flinch an eye at. I don't worry about. I can see them a mile away. And this one was deeply hurtful because this con artist or this con company, I do believe it's an entire company that they have sort of set on people and they study people and they come up with the perfect scam for them. This one was about offering me a speaking gig in London.
17 service to Brighton, fast to East.
And they said it was very last minute and could I come over in the next few weeks? And this was about a couple months ago, actually a couple days before we all recorded. And I just mentioned casually on my podcast because it was a height of COVID in London. And so I was then struggling with my family and worrying about my son and my husband. If I had to quarantine there or quarantine back, would my husband be alone with my son for a while, even though he's working full time? It was very exciting because so I speak about breast cancer prevention for heredity-based breast cancer, specifically for women who are positive for the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes.
No, that was also the subject of your book, Dangerous Boobies.
Yes. And I love talking about it. I love talking about boobs. I love talking about the dangers, the joys, the cancers. I'll talk about anything. Mm-hmm. And I've done multiple speaking gigs around the world. I've went to Israel, one in Holland, one in England. I speak at universities. I speak at women groups. And I have loved doing that because I can offer perspective from a comedian, a novice when it comes to medical information, but just a human being to say, you are getting bombarded with all of these medical terms, paperwork, family history, a lot of trauma. If you have a heredity-based cancer, there's 1,000,000% chance it's in your family, so you've gone through it and you've had some emotional experience, I'm sure. If you haven't, I believe it's pretty lucky to not have had any experience with it. But so coming into there, I like to give my perspective as someone that can be more of a girlfriend, a sister, a cousin to talk to, that the pressure's off, that we can talk about real things, that we can talk about sex after surgery, that we can talk about our identities as women, we can talk about the pain in loving a family member going through cancer and you taking preventative measures, and sometimes there's guilt with that. There's just a whole world with it. And my speaking gigs have been very lovingly successful, and I have the best time ever. And I work with this company that I have a pretty high fee. The fee starts at $5,000 and then goes up. And most people who have a book out and who have sort of the amount of exposure that I would start at 10,000 or 20,000. Like, these are very high price speaking gigs. They are for companies, they are for hospitals, and they will create these events, and it's nothing, they don't even bat an eyelash at the price point of like 10K, 20K. Now, I'm very uncomfortable with it because a lot of these companies are nonprofits, and so I will do a lot of price negotiations. But if someone comes through me through my speaker profile, which is my online company I'm working with, Premier Speakers Bureau, that I have my bio with, I know that it's going to be a $5,000 or more fee.
Okay.
So
Right.
they said they saw me from my speaker profile.
Now, that was my question is, do you have now, a lot of people, creatives these days, they get leads or even gigs via social media. People just reach out through direct message. How did they reach out to you? Not through your speaker bureau?
It was from my Squarespace website that goes to my email under comments. So I'm sorry, they didn't have, I have an automatic thing from my Squarespace website of my speaking gigs for CaitlinBrodnick.com or CaitlinBrodnick.co. You can message me there. And so it came
And it's
from
a proxy, so it like bounces
I'm sorry.
to you.
It does. So they didn't have my exact name, but
So they needed nothing.
nothing. I have gotten very legitimate gigs from my website. And right when my book was coming out, a lot of colleges reached out that way. And so that, by proxy, goes into my personal email inbox. And so I think also when I see a speaking gig through my personal email inbox, I automatically think it's probably legitimate. Like, I think my own vision of it on my phone, I'm flipping through and I'm like, oh, this is a real one. This isn't a spam folder. This isn't my spam email that I use. And and they reached out to me for a speaking gig via my website, and the details were incredible.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
So they reached out. Now, can you tell that it's coming from your Squarespace when it comes in?
I think yes. Yeah.
Okay, I figured you could. Okay,
I can.
So these guys had an offer. They had an offer for you.
They did. It was,
And you couldn't refuse, right?
oh God, I really didn't want to because, this is where, I don't know, they had to have done their homework of like social stalking as well, because I have family in England, in London, and I did a speaking gig in London and spent 2 weeks there and actually did 2 events in London. And so I have pictures of me at the speaking gig in London with family, friends in London from my trip, probably on my Instagram, probably on my verified Facebook account under Caitlin Brodnick, under Katie Brodnick. And they picked a school in London. They said it was the chancellor of the school, asked if I could do a special event for the women in their department about breast cancer prevention. And there was 1 or 2 lines where the verb was off, like the typing was a little weird. And I thought, well, maybe I'm dyslexic, like maybe somebody sent that incorrectly. And then I was talking to my husband. Now, this is after I had made all these like imaginary plans for myself. The next 2 days, I was talking to my husband going, I think if you're a chancellor of a university, you don't direct email somebody and you don't have any grammar errors, especially in England. They're brilliant. And then we looked at the email address and we realized that the email was the chancellor's name, the school name at gmail.com.
Oh.
And I was like, there's no way that a reputable college, university in England is going to have a Gmail account.
It would be like .edu, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
It would be
.edu, yeah.
anything. Anything that's not Gmail. They're
Now,
not
did it
gonna-
occur to you that it could be that they were using Gmail as a proxy and it just was some weird glitch, or?
Well, I responded back right away before I realized this and got nothing back. And then because they said it was in haste and can you do this quickly? We had a speaker cancel. We need you to come in. Flight paid for, hotel accommodation paid for, plus speaking fee. Like we're talking, it could be up to $7,000 that they're spending on this, which is like a very surprising thing for me because I don't have that kind of money to throw around. And then also it seems like an incredible investment for the school. So if they're willing to pay that much, it's like, wow, they must really, really want to work with me. And
were they willing to have you like fly your family over there too, or it was just you?
I'm not sure, but when I responded, I heard nothing for like a day or two. And then probably like the third day was when I realized it was a scam. So I blocked that email address and haven't heard a single thing since. So I figured if they needed to get to me, they have my email address. They have that I replied from my personal email now. Because if you get a Squarespace email, I don't reply with my Squarespace email. I reply with my personal email citing the Squarespace message that they sent me. So they have my personal information. But then since then, I've blocked everything. So if they wanted to reach out to me, let's say it wasn't going through, they could have a million other options to email me from any other email account. It's probably a school email account, not a Gmail account.
This episode is brought to you by Candy Crush Saga. The holidays can be pretty hectic, so take a little time for yourself with the ultimate holiday treat, the classic Match 3 puzzle Candy Crush Saga. And right now, you can catch the limited time event, Sweet Surprise Season, and win sweet daily rewards like a super rare party booster and up to 10 gold bars. Don't miss out. Play Sweet Surprise Season and Candy Crush Saga and crush it this holiday season now until January 1st. Download from the App Store, Google Play, or Windows Store for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey everybody, I'm Amy.
And I'm her husband, Chris. Every week on True Crime Recaps, we're bringing you twice the crime in half the time.
How would you like to hear about 3 terrifying Amish murderers in less time than it takes to stalk your ex on social media?
Here's how it works. We scour the internet for all the bizarre details to bring you some really out there recaps about the worst of the worst. What could be better?
Our favorite recap so far has got to be the one about Ed Kemper. I swear if you didn't know he killed 10 people, you'd want to have a drink with him.
If you've got less than an hour to get your true crime fix, True Crime Recaps is the show for you. After all, you've got a lot of mysteries to solve.
Pause whatever you're listening to right now and go subscribe to True Crime Recaps for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss a recap. Have we got a story for you? We'll see you there.
Caitlin, did you feel that this was really targeted, that it was tailor-made for you?
It was 100% tailor-made. It was 100%. It said...
in one sense, it's pretty flattering to have in another sense, it's terrifying. It feels very invasive.
It also feels just so sad. I was like, because it's not that these people, one, I could have used the money and it put me in like a tailspin of how I can like pay off my debts, and then like, what am I going to do for my son for COVID? And he's 3 years old. He can't get vaccinated. Am I going to have to isolate from him? What are we going to do about childcare? We don't have a nanny. She left because of COVID, all these things that it was like a personal stress. But then also, I love these events. I love these women. I love talking to women who come in feeling so, as I did, just like you're either in shock, you're completely fractured, or you're just upset and want to cry. And then we can create a community within like 45 minutes. We're all talking. We're all being honest. We're all hugging by the end because we're just human beings trying to survive life. And so they're taking this that is I wish it had been for ScamWow. I wish it had been a speaking gig for anything. I wish it had been an acting audition, like trying to just sell fake donuts. Like this is something that I love these ladies. And so I actually was mourning the loss of being able to share with these ladies like how special and how things can turn around for them and help get them out of this.
It's an incredible, Adam and I both know people who have had preventative double mastectomies. And
it's
because
traumatic. I mean, it cuts someone to their core.
It is.
But Adam and I know one of these people, both of us know this person. And Adam, you have to admit, and I know this is true about the other person I know too, strongest woman I know.
Incredibly strong, a happy warrior.
Happy warrior.
Just did what they had to do because that's what they had to do. She has 2 kids. And, she said, I'm doing it for them as much as I'm doing it for me. And then after it happened, then she was talking about the fact that in certain senses, it gave her a do-over.
Completely. Yeah.
And, but, for people to take advantage of someone who is trying to help people is, my mother always used to say, since we're into Jewish mothers, no good deed goes unpunished. But the truth is, you're doing the work of the angels, and it's tragic that there's someone that would come along and exploit this. But this is what these folks do.
So I have a question. What was the goal? What were they trying to do? Do you have a sense of how the scam worked?
This is what it says. This is, Dear Caitlin Brodnick, my name is Allison Arnon from New City College. We want you to be our guest speaker for this year's seminar, which will take place here in UK at the New City College. We're writing to invite you to confirm your booking to be our speaker at these year's seminar instead of this year's seminar. And it said we came across your profile at Premier Speakers Bureau. We want to say it's up to standard, and we will be very glad to have such an outstanding personality in our midst for these overwhelming gathering. That's not real. With your multi-space talented, sorry about our late invitation. It's due to the fact that our speaker had back out because of her sudden illness.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a bunch of red flags.
A bunch of red flags, you guys.
But also, normally, now, I could be wrong, and Bo, Travis, correct me, but normally, if you are a luminary that's being invited to speak at an event, they would either say, Dear Ms. Brodnick, or Dear Caitlin. They wouldn't say, Dear Caitlin Brodnick.
Oh, yeah. And
well, I don't even know about that, Adam. I know that, like, having seen a bunch of these over the years, and you get asked all the time, Adam, to do these kind of speaking events. We've seen these, and Adam, I'm not so concerned about the way they addressed her. I mean, the red flags are like, this is like
the rest
when
of the
something
letter
goes wrong in a Bugs Bunny cartoon, and there's like an explosion of flags.
There's more. Do you want me to keep reading? Because I responded, guys. Okay.
You responded.
I did to this. Okay, so this is the second paragraph. Ugh, so embarrassing.
So did you respond like something like, I would pleased be to speak?
No. Here's the problem. This is the thing. They picked the most perfect dyslexic breast cancer prevention person ever.
Wait, do you think they knew?
I'm super dyslexic. No, it's that I wasn't tough enough and sharp enough when I read it because my eyes do this bouncing anyway.
Yeah. But do you think they knew you were dyslexic? Do you mention that in your book?
I do, but do you think they read my book?
I do.
You never know.
For this?
You never know. I mean, if they're doing good research, I think it's harder and harder to hack someone these days because we're looking for it. So if I were a hacker, not to say this is some weird Pink Panther thing where I actually am a hacker.
Go ahead, do it.
Well,
I would read your book. I would 100% read your book. 1,000%. Because it has all a memoir would have all the information I need to hack you.
It really does, guys. It really does. I'm really a sitting duck.
Somebody doing research on a target. It is shocking how much information in the process of educating people or whatever we do, when we do the things we do, we give an enormous amount of information away. Part of it is because we want people to become more familiar with this when you're writing a book. You want them to get to know you, to understand you based on all the things you do and, what makes you respond to things. And so I think that they may have really been zeroing in on it. It's just bad for them that their grammar was so horrendous.
They even did a venue breakdown. They have a venue break. Like, these are all things that I get in an email breakdown from them. I get sort of the venue, the telephone number, the email, the expected audience. It also said arrangements to welcome you here will be discussed as soon as you honor our invitation. If you have any more publicity material, please do not hesitate to contact me. A formal letter of invitation would be sent to you as soon as you honor our invitation. So I'm thinking like, okay, this is a quick email, then we get a formal letter. And then it says, we are taking care of your flight and hotel accommodation expenses, including your speaker fees. Stay blessed. And that's when, I don't think that Chancellor of a school is going to say stay blessed. But
now, there really is a New City College.
There
correct,
is.
in London?
And that's actually her. There is an Allison who's in charge of it. But if you click her stuff, that's not the email address.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the gmail.com email address there, it says one of the biggest red flags. I mean, there are several
but
here,
I think you guys are wrong about that. And I'm going to make Caitlin crazy.
That's fine.
Listen, Brodnick. I think it was real.
It.
No.
You think it was real?
I think you blew it. You just blew $7,000.
I probably did.
No. But I mean, it's possible. I just wanted to say, like, listen, I could fall for this, Travis, because an event might well have a Gmail address because they don't want to clog up their work email.
That could be. You're right.
Sure.
You're right.
The nature of this hack had to have been they overpay, no?
Or they could have just asked for a bank account information to wire the money to.
How would that help them?
Because they could get a withdrawal from it.
And if they have all of my information, if they've read my book, if they have like mother's maiden name, if they have everything, they could get bank account information and then go through it. Also, unfortunately, I found out that you can recreate someone's voice from listening to their podcast by some sort of formula. Kate, my producer, said that if I need to say something and she doesn't have me, she has a program that she can program to say like, oh yeah, sure, in my voice, and it will say that.
Deepfake voice, they do that a lot these days. Or at least they do that
Caitlin's
more.
interpretation. Adam,
What
I
was
think
it?
Caitlin's interpretation is sort of delectable in that they were drilling down into the very few pieces of information they needed to do some serious identity theft.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the only thing I can figure. And can I ask you a question, Caitlin?
Yeah.
You mentioned having a nanny.
Yeah.
So, no, understood. So that means you have a bunch of extra money for them to steal.
We don't. We don't. Our nanny was a babysitter who lived down the street who would occasionally babysit when I was working shifts at Home Depot for a part-time job. And she was like, it's too risky. I don't want to be around you guys. So I am the number one childcare provider.
So you don't like reek of Rolls Royces and stuff online.
Here's the thing. I don't, but I do think people think I'm richer than I am. And I think it's from my upbringing because my aunt was an incredibly poor actress and she was always like, she never wanted me to feel poor, to behave poor, to emulate anything less than like a glamorous woman. And it has completely been a disservice to me. Like, I wish I could just say I am broke. Like I try to, I've had friends be like, oh, you can't afford this. And I'm like, no, I can. I've told you that already. And they haven't really believed me. I was working on a project where this person kept asking me to put money into it. And I said, I told you I'm going through savings now. Like, we're done. I can't put any more money in. And he was completely shocked. So I think there's an element, maybe also being a public speaker, hoping to get a gig for $5,000 that hasn't happened this year, for COVID. People think you're more affluent than you are. I don't know.
Well, it also presents a great opportunity if they say you're more likely to, jump at an offer like that. If they're just saying like, okay, this person's probably going to get really excited, then that means we can probably get even further with this scam than if you're just saying like, no, that's risky. There's COVID. No, thank you. And just turning it down.
Thank you for contacting me. I'd love to know more about this event. Mm-hmm. But then that email back is then they have my personal email and they know then that they have all of this information and that I'm sort of hooked. But it was so realistic, this first email. This form is the venue form that I get from my agents. So they've done their research as well as they've probably done it with other speakers. This is probably here. I'll show you again what.
No, I have no doubt. And the other thing is that, again, they're offering you a speaking opportunity in, relative to Queens, an exotic place, London. I mean, who wouldn't want to go to London?
And for me, it's seeing family. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if Caitlin accepted, they would have said that for federal tax purposes, you have to give us your social security number.
Bang!
Oh, you're
That's
right.
the scam.
Bam.
They wanted my social. They had my information. They had my mom's maiden name. They just needed my social.
Wow.
That's
That's so
it.
cool. Suckers! You didn't get it. Haha.
No, plus they would have gotten your, I assume they would have also gotten your phone number too, which has become the equivalent of a universal identifier
Yes.
these days.
They would
as
have
well.
completed the puzzle.
That's it. All the tiles, the mosaic would have been complete.
This is the coolest thing ever because we have just, listen, on What the Hack with Adam Levin, thanks to ScamWow, the lovely podcast that we listen to and have been on, I want to say we just discovered a new twist to the employment scam. Dun, dun, dun.
You are completely right. God, completely right. Because they could send you a 401c3 form or like whatever those I-9 forms. I'm terrible at tax forms. And you would,
W-9.
yeah, but you'd send it back. So they'd pay
Yes.
you as an independent contractor. And there's your home address, name, and social.
Okay, the whole
Everything.
world can hear the smile on your face right now, but I would like to say
I'm
you
fascinated.
should be worried about this happening again.
I am worried about it happening again. And what from now on, what I have done is the people that responded to me on email, on Instagram, that I've now sent everyone over to my speaker agents. I just want everything to go through them. At least
Right.
2 other people can glance at it for me. I can't blame it on my dyslexia and my lack of grammar skills. You'd think if I wrote a book, I'd have some grammar, but it's very minimal. And I even had somebody message me a very casual email like, "Hey girl, I sent you an Instagram email. Want to know if you could do this thing at my school." And years ago I would have said of course, but now I just can't. I have to have it all go through an agent first because of this. Now I won't be so trigger happy.
Well, you should do what Bo and I do, and that is anytime anybody contacts us to do anything, we say, you have to speak to Travis. Here's his social security number, his phone number,
Travis, can you talk to everyone for me too? I would
his
really
mother's maiden name.
Certainly.
I'll take Travis and his mother. I'll take anyone. I need help.
Maybe not my mother, but yeah.
In the alternative, on your website, post all that information and say, you have it already, now leave me alone.
Yeah. And I have a publicist for my book, and I have multiple agents of all kinds of agencies, and that's all available. But there's this feeling, I think that I have created this feeling, I will admit, that I wanted a closeness and a connection with my readers and with other women going through this because it feels so impersonal and sterile and terrifying that in my book, I welcome people to contact me on social media, for us to connect, for, just to have, and I've had people call me from all over the world to say, I'm nervous my husband won't want to have sex with me again. What was it like for you after surgery? I mean, this is stuff that I think is priceless for these women who feel so isolated and alone. So a big part of my experience in this is that I want to be easily contacted in some ways.
Well, no, that's extremely important. And the message you're delivering is a message of hope and comfort, and it's a beautiful thing. Travis, so how can people prevent this from happening in the future?
Well, one thing that I've set up in the past, I'm not sure if you can do it with Squarespace, but a lot of time if you're getting information from a contact form on a website, you can also include the sender's IP address.
Oh, didn't know that.
So what that would mean is if someone is saying, I'm writing you from London, you can just look up the IP address and just say, is that actually in London? That is in and of itself a pretty quick thing that if you were to say, no, it's actually coming from like Bahrain, then you'd say, all right, that seems very suspicious. Again, I'm not sure if you can do that with Squarespace. I would assume you might be able to. But with a lot of contact forms, if you have that on there, it's sort of a good way to add in a little bit of an extra gatekeeper.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and same thing is to always just double check the email address. It sounds like you did. Bo and I may disagree on this, but I do think the gmail.com was a pretty big red flag there. Usually, especially if someone's writing on behalf of a university of some sort, they will be writing from the actual university's
I was just
domain.
trying to have a what if, man.
Yeah,
Harsh
yeah.
on my buzz.
I don't think I'll take any more jobs over rando social media. I am going to put my employment in more organized hands than my own.
Well, that's the simple thing. Is just always say all of my scheduling is handled by my speakers bureau. Here's the person to contact over there. You just have to make sure that the people in the speakers bureau don't fall for stuff like this
I
too.
know.
And the good thing
incredible.
is, because it was done via email, it was slowed down enough so that you could do the sort of Matrix style avoidance of the bullet, which you
Yes.
dodged.
Completely.
You did dodge it.
I know. I feel really lucky, and I will say that this has happened. I think I've had random people reach out to me more, believe it or not, more sexually, which sounds crazy to say, but because of the book's called Dangerous Boobies, they'll say hey baby, or something disgusting on a Facebook message. So I was used to that. This was such a distinguished school. I was like, this isn't the harassment I'm used to as a woman talking about breasts. This is different.
Well, that's because they know that's what you really care about.
Now, and no one ever does, because when Adam was saying the title of your book earlier, it really sounded like he was saying boobala. Have there ever been any dangerous bubbies?
Bubbies. I mean, it's time. It's time to get some dangerous bubbies in this and just taking down cyber criminals.
We may have to rename our podcast Dangerous Bubbies.
This is an offshoot podcast on Dangerous Bubbies.
Caitlin, this was awesome, and heaven knows we could talk about this for weeks because you are truly fun and insightful and caring and really just a mensch, just a beautiful person.
Thank you so much. I am thrilled to be a guest on your podcast. You guys are brilliant and really guardian angels to so many people when it comes
as are you for all of the people that you speak on behalf of and speak to. So listen, thank you so much, and till we meet again, lowering your digital property values, thank you very, very much for coming on What the Hack with Adam Levin today.
Thank you guys. This was wonderful. I hope to talk to you soon. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Travis, I know you've been using the public app to trade stocks and cryptocurrency. What's all this business about buying slices of stocks?
It's a really cool idea, actually. Instead of needing to buy an entire share, especially for a pretty expensive stock like Apple, you can just buy a fraction of it, as little as $1.
So I hear there's a social media component to it. Do people actually share good information on there?
They do. I've never really been too financially savvy, so it's been really educational for me to be able to see not just what people are investing in on the platform, but also why. So they'll explain a little bit about why they think it's a good investment and a good place to store their money.
So you like it so far?
Well, one thing that I looked for right away and was very satisfied with the result was that they have a strong privacy policy. With a lot of financial apps and a lot of trading apps, they will actually sell what you're doing to third parties, and public.com does not do that. So from a privacy standpoint, they're really solid.
That sounds great. So how do our listeners get active on Public?
It's really easy, actually. They can just go to public.com to download the app, and they can start investing with as little as $1, and they can get a free slice of stock of up to $50. And if they want to help us out, they can just go to public.com/whatthehack and sign up with code whatthehack. That's all one word.
Valid for U.S. residents 18 and older, subject to account approval. See public.com/disclosures, not investment advice. We love our What the Hack guests and their willingness to share their experiences in the shadowy world of cybercrime. But that said, you probably don't want to become our next cautionary tale about all the things that can go really wrong online. These days, you need an internet security solution that can detect and block threats like phishing email and ransomware files before they get to you. ESET Internet Security does just that, and a lot more. ESET Internet Security protects your online banking and payments by providing a special secure browser for financial transactions. It alerts you if someone's trying to access your webcam and keeps you invisible to hackers when you're using public Wi-Fi. Best of all, ESET Internet Security provides anti-phishing technology to block attempts to steal your username and passwords. Because we all know what criminals can do with those. Right now, you can try ESET Internet Security free for 30 days. Head to try.eset.com/hack to claim your free trial. That's try.eset.com/hack.
You know, I think some people hear this, Adam, and they think, that seems like a tremendous amount of work for a questionable payoff. I mean, you know, botnet type attacks where you get spam and it says, you know, you just won the lottery, or your Chase account's been compromised, or I don't know, look at this person making a fool of themselves. All of those are understandable. But you know, I think people don't get why someone might put in the effort to collect the kind of information they collected about Caitlin, and then went to the extra effort to collect the missing pieces they didn't have.
Well, it's of great interest to people when you're a public figure and people are making assumptions about who you are, what you do, how much you're worth. And there are some people that people think it's worth the effort. There's also boiler room operations where there are different people that are tasked with going after different targets, and whoever gets the most information the fastest, they pass on the other targets and then focus on that particular individual as well. Right, Travis?
Yeah, I mean, I think the other two things to keep in mind here. First of all, a small or seemingly small amount of money can go a lot further depending on where you are in the world. That if you're sending it from, say, London, yeah, that a few $100 or a few $1,000 might not really seem like it's worth it. But if you're doing that from Pakistan, it is definitely going to be worth it.
Well, but the other thing here is, I speak from experience as a creative. I have maintained excellent credit, but I don't always have a lot of cash. And it's one of the reasons why I maintain excellent credit. So let's just say someone hit me right now. They think I've got tons of money. I don't. If you go after my cash, you're kind of screwed.
But your credit
if you go
is
after
golden.
my credit, you could go buy a new car. And that is serious money.
And Bo, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that new $80,000 car that I was able to buy using your credit.
I know. I've seen you out in your little strips racing people for pink slips. I see you.
Absolutely.
You ain't gonna see me for that, Suko.
Hey, if you like What the Heck with Adam Levin, you can do us a favor. Go on Apple Podcasts and give us 5 stars. It really helps people find the show. And if you really, really like the show, give us a review too. All that lets people know that What the Heck with Adam Levin is something that they should check out. Thanks a lot. What the Heck with Adam Levin is a production of Loud Tree Media.
It's produced by Andrew Stephen, the man with 2 first names.
You can find us online at loudtreemedia.com and on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Adam K. Levin.